It's time to talk about low rarity characters again, and today we're gonna be going over a full build for Lighting, a Seeker from the Union that is one of my favorite characters in terms of looks, and my favorite faction that sadly does not have a lot of characters yet. The good thing, however, is that the Union will be getting the strongest characters pretty soon. If we go here, we're gonna be getting August, Tristan, and Simona, and all of them are really strong. Simona is probably the weakest. Tristan and August are completely broken. This is my favorite faction. I'm waiting to get them so I can be running this team. The only downside will be actually using Theodon, but that's a topic for another day. So as usual, hello Dinglets, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi. Today's topic is going to be Lighting, her complete build and guide. Before we start, leave a like, subscribe, help me grow the channel, and let's jump directly into her trait, passive skill, and then we'll go over the whole tree and my picks and where you could be changing stuff. So as usual, let's start with the trait right here, and this is a pretty simple trait. This increases your physical attack and physical defense by 9%. You can get this all the way to 15% at 5 stars, which over time you will be able to get since low rarity characters are cheaper to grind. Also, you can get lucky with your pulls and just get her there. She will also, at the end of the turn, if you are healthy, proc this Dane, which decreases damage taken by 30% for 1 turn. This is only when you are above 70% HP, meaning for most of the fights, this will be your first time you are getting hit. You have a nice damage reduction as a safeguard in there for Lighting. So it's pretty good. Oh, before we go into the skills, her basic skill is one of the few attacks she actually has. This is Phantom Storm, physical damage, AoE to all enemies on a 3x4 area, and it also deals attack down and move down. As you can see, this is the only skill right now she has to attack. The others are auras and passives. So this really depends on what you're doing. So let me unequip this and actually put this. And let's go into her tree and explain my choices in here and where you might want to change things depending on your playstyle and your team composition. So starting from rank 1, you have two options. You have Will to Survive and you have Knight's Glory. Will to Survive is a passive that when you are dying at the start of the turn, recovers 50% HP and 2 energy. Now the problem is most characters, and even more so if we talk about Seekers, when they are dying, they're not really proccing this, they will be dead. Most Seekers are really squishy. This is nice, but will not really help you out with characters of this type. This works for characters like Alexei, like Guzman, that they thrive by being low HP. For your other characters, it's not that great. Still, this can save you in a pinch, and it's also recovering not only 50% HP but also 2 energy points on a 2-turn cooldown. Pretty cool, but I believe this Knight's Glory it's better. This is an instant skill that gives you attack 2 for 2 turns, and also if the target that you are putting this attack buff on it's from the Union, you will also gain a physical shield for 20% of your HP. This is pretty strong, and this can be used absolutely all the time, not like this only when you are dying. Both are great. I will go Knight's Glory. Let's move into rank 3, and there is 2 passives in here as well. There is an aura and this passive. This aura will increase crit rate by 20% for other allies, not for you, not for Lighting, within 2 tiles around the character. It's a pity that it's not for herself, but the reason they didn't put this for herself, and I'll explain later these skills, is because she can get 50% crit rate here, 30% crit rate here, and if this were to affect her as well, that would be a 100% character on critical rate for free, which they probably don't want to be making things too strong, because you could then be focusing on crit damage and make a monster out of Lighting. So this is only for other lives within 2 tiles, but it's still pretty strong. She is a Seeker. She will be on the front lines with your tank and DPSs or melee DPSs. She will be giving 20% crit rate to all of the allies that are close to her. Then we have Battle Fever. This is a passive that initiates only after you are attacking, taking 15% less damage on the next turn, and if you crit, the damage taken is additionally decreased by another 25%, making it a really 40% damage reduction every time you crit. This is pretty good, so you could be picking both of them depending on your team. If you have no melee characters other than your tank, you might benefit more from this passive rather than by the 20% crit rate. So this is up to you. Do not unlock both. This is a low rarity character. Spending Castalias on her, I will say personally, feels kind of a waste, but up to you. Let's move into rank 5. Rank 5 will give you 2 things. You have a reaction for front defense and hardening. Front defense is nice. It's the usual basic. If you are attacked from the front, damage reduction is 30%. Nice. But this is only from the front on a Seeker. If this was on your tank, it makes sense because they're always facing the enemy. On a Seeker, however, you're moving around the map and you will benefit more from hardening. Because when you are getting hit, this decreases damage taken only by 8%, but you also get damage reduction too for 2 turns, which is another 20%. So this will be a 28% almost constant damage reduction compared to only from the front a 30%. Again, up to you. both work, I went with Hardening. Let's move into rank 7. Now, rank 7 is the only time you can actually get an active skill to attack. So if we come here, this is Gale Dance. This is 75% AoE physical damage that will also give you crit 2 for 2 turns, 30% crit. Really powerful skill. You could be going with this, but I personally really like this one. Lighting increases speed by 50 points, increases crit by 50% if you've moved more than 3 tiles. Meaning every time you move more than 3 tiles, you're flipping a coin already 50% crit rate. Do you crit? Do you not crit, right? This is pretty good, and I'm not sure why this is on the side of evasion on the tree instead of crit. Well, both of them give you crit, but you know what I mean. So 50% crit rate as long as you're moving 50 points of speed, meaning you will be one of the fastest characters on the field, moving always first. This is really strong, and I prefer to go with this for a Seeker so she can strike first their enemies. And then lastly, we have the rank 9, which is the passive attacks. And same thing, you could be using both of them, it really depends. There is a lot of characters that have this armor piercing strike that will be dealing, 100% physical damage and physical defense and magical defense 1 down for 2 turns. This is good since it's a 20% decrease on physical and magical defenses. Now, the other option to survive longer, if you did not pick this will to survive, it's actually going with Feverish attack, which is 100% physical damage and 20% life steal. Now, I would only pick Feverish attack if you do not pick will to survive. If you go this left side, then I would pick the armor piercing since you have your way of surviving every 2 turns on this if you are dying. That's my opinion though. So in my case, I'm gonna be going to the right. If you pick the left side, going to the left as well. That is her skill set. As you can see, she has really good skills for a Seeker. She has really good movement, really good crit, and decent attack. She's more of a Seeker that will support your team rather than being like Cole, which is an assassin that destroys everything, but it's pretty good. Now, like we were saying, she gets a lot of crit, and that's what you want to focus on your equipment as well. For example, when we talk about her tarot, I would not go with the side for Temperance, even though it's a good shield for her. I would go with Verdict of Justice because this is another 15% crit, meaning you are already on 65% with your passive as long as you move, and you have this. And also when it comes to the weapon, I would go for daggers that give you crit, because these daggers, if you get them to 2 stars, it will be a 6%. I mean, if you get them to higher, it's a 15%, but this is long term. This is not for now, right? This will take a while to actually get there. As long as you get it to 2 stars, it's a 6%, meaning you are already getting a 70% crit rate. If you were to also pick besides lighting with the Castalia this skill, from a 70, you're going already into a 100% crit rate every time you're doing Guild Dance. If you're not doing Guild Dance, of course, it's 70%, which is still pretty good. You can get a little bit more of crit if you are using something like the Maverick's Glow, but this means your character is alone, it's on the backlines like Cole, because this is for Cole, this is pretty good for her, not so good for lighting. But this will be an extra 10% crit, which would put us already at more than 80%. So she can get really close to that 100% crit rate pretty consistently as long as you have the equipment. And again, there is even better weapons we could be using later. This is the one I have right now available for me. So all in all, I will say Lighting is a pretty strong character. I really enjoy using her. At the moment, I can get finally my full Union team. She will be part of that. Until then, I'll keep using my sort of Convallaria team since I am quite basic. What can I say? Now, all that said is going to be for this video. Just wanted to talk a little bit about Lighting and how to properly build her. Next video is going to be on PvP tips and tricks for casuals. If you're a casual like me, how to properly clear and get all the rewards you need to get. As you can see, I'm close to getting already the platinum rewards. I think I am 3 days away from this. So all that said, it's gonna be it for this one. As usual, thank you to my patrons for making this content possible. Love you all, bossos. Good luck with your pool dinners. I'll see you in the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。